Hi, this is Mark Bernard from the Bernard Institute for Cybersecurity. I hope that you guys are having a great day today. I hope that you've been following me on the social media scene. I have been publishing many useful videos, and I want you to share them and like them, please, because that helps to get the word out on cybersecurity. Today, we're going to talk about cybersecurity scoping. This is one of the steps, the first step actually, in the cybersecurity risk assessment process. If you've watched that video already, or if you haven't, please check back on my YouTube channel or on my website channel. You'll find that information there, and maybe you'd like to register and become a member of the Cybersecurity Institute. That would be great. The Bernard Institute for Cybersecurity, I mean. That would be great because the more members I have, of course, the more work I can do and the more I can share with you to help you with your jobs as well. Okay, without further ado, let's jump right in here. Cybersecurity knows no boundaries. Okay, scoping is a very important exercise, and scoping kind of works like this. Okay, so you can have a phased approach to your cybersecurity program where you might take a particular area or a particular group or product or service within your organization that you need to get certified. Usually, most organizations that I talk to about adopting ISO 27001 or NIST cybersecurity framework are doing this for a reason. If they're in government, then obviously they want to adopt NIST cybersecurity framework because their country, whether it's the US, Canada, or maybe you're in Europe, has made the decision that they need to be NIST cybersecurity compliant. So the first step in that process is to scope it out. So there's a famous saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? A lot of information security programs fail because the people who are implementing the programs don't have the experience to understand that you can't just implement a cybersecurity framework into an organization without creating some disruption. And we're going to talk about the digital transformation thing in one of my other slides, but so you try to focus on a particular area. You try to get some quick wins. So this is kind of ITIL thinking, right? Is you want to get some quick wins, some project areas where you can implement cybersecurity, have a good impact, a positive impact that the executive team and your governance team sees, so that you can continue to expand from there. Okay, so you may take a phased approach. So for instance, in this scoping exercise, we're looking at the cybersecurity program. So the first thing that you need to get stood up is the management system. And oh my, I can't tell you how many cybersecurity programs that I've audited in the U.S. and Canada who have not implemented a management system. So if you're familiar with ISO 27001, you know that in Annex A it lists a lot of control objectives, similar to COBIT. COBIT 4.4 and on. Have always had control objectives, except for I think COBIT 5. They dropped them and then they brought them back again. But these control objectives are designed specifically to mitigate a risk that the people who are writing these standards understand exists. Many times I've seen ISO 27001 implemented where Annex A is the only thing that's been implemented. No management system. So within clauses 4 to 10, there's a management system. And I'm going to be talking about this in another one of my mini MP4s. If you want to come back and you want to check that out, we'll talk about the governance and the management system of that process. Okay, so within the management system, we have these particular processes. This is based on my mind map, actually. So if you've also been following me, you know that I have a mind map out there. And that might be something that is of interest to you. It's rather broad. It's a training, it's a seminar that I put on. I have 3 different types of seminars that I put on. So NIST, ISO, I put on seminars for management teams and also for chief executive officers or chief information security officers, or I like to call them chief cybersecurity officers. So people who are at the executive level, but they're managing the enterprise cybersecurity effort. They need to know some things, and these are some of the things that needs to be in their program to be successful. So you need to have a governance process. You need to have a risk management process. You need to have security architecture. You need to have program management. You need to have strategic communications monitoring, and you need to have knowledge management. These are all very, very important. I can tell you from over 30 years of experience how important these things are. If you want to have a good day in the office and you're a CISO, these are the things that you need to have in place. So forget what those other people are telling you, because it's not really, they don't really know. I know, I've been there and done this for a long time, so I can tell you. So in your first phase of the project, you want to stand up the straw man known as the management system. This is the program system, okay? Then you might also be looking at what is in scope and what are out of scope. So you may have some facilities. Maybe you have a number of data centers, okay? So maybe you have some physical data centers, or maybe you're in the cloud already, which would be great. You may also have some closed facilities. So if you have closed facilities, then you know that you may have networking out to those facilities. So you're going to have to need to inspect those and shut those down, make sure they're shut down, and take a closer look at your data center. So that's phase one. Phase two, you may look at retail locations. So if you're in the commercial enterprise business, then you may produce products, or you may import products, and you may sell them through your retail locations. So if you're following PCI DSS, then you have some of the cybersecurity framework already in place around the point of sale systems, but then you may have to implement some other practices as well. So if you have retail locations, it's better to do those in phase two. So phase one might be the first 6 months or the first year. You get the program up and running. You get the management team on side. You have your governance committee working. It's going to take 2 or 3 meetings before the governance committee actually knows what's expected of them. You can create a terms of reference for the governance committee. That will help them. And then you can explain that to them. And then you need to include an annual business plan that includes a lot of these other parts. So, you need a risk management methodology, you need a risk management policy and a procedure. You need to have security architecture defined. So you have to talk about how you're going to do that. The program management is the day-to-day operations of the cybersecurity program. You need to have knowledge management, because information is ultimately the reason why we do cybersecurity. We don't do it because of the software or the hardware, because we can replace those things. Same with the telecommunications. Facilities might not even matter, because, as you know, the physical parameter is dematerializing, because we have cloud now. So we can fail over to different instances around the world. So if we have an office shut down in Victoria, for instance, we may have another office that's in Los Angeles that can pick up that business and carry on like seamlessly without any issues, completely failed over to that site. Or maybe we have another location in Germany, or maybe Florida, or maybe England. You never know where you could have another facility that could fail over and pick up that slack. So, but knowledge management is so fundamental. It's so important. The information that we capture and that we record and that we use to run our businesses is the key to that. Monitoring, obviously, we need to have a security operations center. We need to stand that up. We need to have people monitoring our networks, monitoring the infrastructure, the wide area network, the local area network, all the segments within the network, all the devices, especially the hotspots where we have important information assets that are being stored. Strategic communications is the communications that comes out from the governance committee, comes out from the chief cybersecurity officer to the employees. This is important to raise awareness up to a certain level so that people understand the importance of cybersecurity to the organization. We may also include awareness training with strategic communications. And there's a slight difference. Communications is about getting awareness up. It's like an internal marketing plan and keeping awareness high. Whereas awareness training is about giving people skills and new knowledge. And we're going to talk about classification of information in another video, and as well as many other, of course, videos that will discuss different components like risk management and how to do risk analysis and stuff like that. So there are many different skills that you need to learn that be part of that annual communication plan. And you want to make sure that the governance committee reviews what your plans are for this year and for next year, and that those plans are lined up to the mission and the strategic goals of the organization. Regardless, if you're in government or if you're in commercial sector, you have a mission for your ministry, you have goals for your ministry, you may have a service plan, you may call it a strategic plan. There may be lots of different names for it, but it's a plan that provides a vision for the future. And that vision is what the cybersecurity program has to facilitate. So it's part of the process, okay? Again, so that might be phase one. And then phase two, you look at, you go outside of your central location, your headquarters, and you look at the retail and the manufacturing and distribution offices and warehouses and facilities. and you look at the security around there. So you begin to roll out the cybersecurity. So by this time, it could be year 2 or it could be 18 months down the road. You've had time to kick the tires on the car, take it for a couple drives, and make sure that it's running good. And then you start to roll it out to other areas. And again, you go through the same cycle. So there's communications that goes on. There's awareness training that goes on. There'll be audits, obviously, that goes on because you want to check and verify and validate that the controls are in place and that they're being implemented. And then there's monitoring. So you expand the monitoring as well to make sure that if there's any anomalies or any threats to the organization, that you catch them before they exploit any of the vulnerabilities of those assets that we talked about in the risk assessment waterfall. Okay? And then, of course, there's the cloud. And we want to roll out our cybersecurity program into the cloud so that we can protect yourself, because the cloud is very useful. It saves a lot of money for the organization. It provides it provides actually a layer of cybersecurity, if you like, because we have more resilience when we have cloud and we have failover with multiple instances around the globe than we would without it. And it's much better than a physical data center in a lot of different ways. Okay, so that might be phase 2. Again, it could be 18 months. It could be 24 months down the road. And then finally, you might want to get down to phase 3 because every cybersecurity program is kind of on a 3-year plan. You may not know this if you're new to the business, but generally it's been known that a 3-year plan is what it takes to mature a cybersecurity program and get it running 100%. It's not something that you can just do in a few months. It's not possible because it is a digital transformation. It affects the organization. Hopefully it doesn't affect your culture, because that's one of the things you have to kind of customize the cybersecurity program around, is to fit the culture of the organization so that people are engaged and empowered, as well as management. The regular staff and management need to be empowered. They need to be engaged in the process to make it successful. So year 3, you're out there. Now you're looking at your supply chain. You're looking at your vendors, third parties, suppliers. You're looking at where you fit. If you're into the NIST cybersecurity framework, you want to see where you fit in the critical infrastructure. There's 16 different industries in that infrastructure. And do you provide materials? Do you provide parts? Do you provide services? Where do you fit into the supply chain? Who are your upstream customers and who are your downstream suppliers? And you need to evaluate the risk around that using a risk assessment methodology to determine what the risk is. So this scoping is very, very important. You may take several iterations because you're going to have to identify all the assets that are in that scope for phase 1, and then that's going to expand, of course. You're going to find out all the assets that are in scope 1, and then you're going to add to those assets when you go into phase 2, and then phase 3, finally, you're going to find more assets. And again, you're going to run those through the risk assessment process, make sure you identify it. Chances are there's a lot of commonality, because once you finish the head office risk assessment, you probably have the majority of the assets in scope already. But there is always a possibility that you're going to add something that's unique or unusual. I know, for instance, with pharmaceutical or manufacturing, you may have devices, or in the energy field, you may have devices that are within certain facilities that you don't have at head office. So you need to take a closer look at those to see if they're affected by the Internet of Things, to see if they're connected by the Internet, to see if they have any kind of virus protection or any access control or any of the basic stuff, right, that you need. A lot of these devices have been built in isolation of the Internet, because for years and decades they've been designed and created without access control, without antivirus systems. They don't do patching because they're never patched. Okay, so there's lots of potential risk and exposure areas that need to be addressed and identified and then addressed, rather. Okay? All right, so that's scoping. If you have any questions, again, email me. Please like my videos. Share them with as many people as you want. There's no limitation on sharing them. If you're interested in registering on my website, you can find me at www.bernardinstitute.com. There is a place there that you can register and become a member of the Cybersecurity Institute with me. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, my professional profile, my business profile. You can find me on Facebook as well with my business profile. YouTube, I share some videos on some free videos. I also have free videos on my website. And also, when you pay for a subscription, you get access to other materials as well. And of course, on Twitter. I want to thank you for your time. I hope you have a great day. And don't forget to come back and see some more videos and share. Like and share. Thank you very much and have a great day.